It was the AlphaTauri driver involved.
Hi everyone, Jake, always good to see you again. Welcome to the latest episode of Alpha of the Pack, an AlphaTauri series on, he said Football Manager, F1 Manager 2022. We took them over at the start of the season. We swapped Yuki Tsunoda over for Sebastian Vettel, just for something a little bit different, something you're not going to see in the rest of the AlphaTauri playthroughs. And what happens on Seb's debut race of Australia gets all the way up to 7th, 8th place before bottling it on the last corner. If you haven't watched that episode or any of the other episodes yet, feel free to pause this one, click on the channel and go and check out the rest of the episodes. They're worth a watch, I promise you. Now, this week we are at Imola, a track which historically has at least a virtual safety car or a safety car every race. So we're sort of hoping that that can work in our favour, as well as a rainy qualifying session. Now, anything can happen in the rain, especially in a game like this. So can we get both our drivers to Q3, and most importantly, can we get a good start in a very DRS heavy track? I say DRS heavy for a track that only has one DRS zone, but that DRS zone is so long that honestly there's going to be plenty of trains. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment underneath how your seasons are getting on. I know a few of you are going to be 2 or 3 seasons into the game already. I do apologise about this series being slightly slow, but with a busy working schedule and loads of stuff on Twitch as well, we're trying our best to try and get iRacing and F1 Manager content onto this channel on a regular basis. So thank you to those who keep coming back, thank you to those who keep liking the videos, thank you to those that keep commenting as well, even if it's something as simple as good race or Jay, you slightly suck. Don't do the second one, I cry. But enough of me talking, straight onto this episode. Enjoy. A preview of the upcoming race shows a clear weather race, but perhaps some drama in a potentially rainy qualifying can shuffle the grid up. Meanwhile, we also have regulation votes to look into today. These will show up over the season and are votes conducted by the FIA in regards to technical, financial, and sporting changes. What we vote for will not necessarily be accepted by other teams. They can vote for or against. This time though is for calling on next year's parts, which, to be honest, I don't see this particular vote affecting us too much, as we are still considered a lower ranked team. Any sort of like regulation change will probably work to our advantage versus the higher teams. This vote, however, will unlock research in the development page, and that is what will be the difference between us getting higher or lower in the field next season. Meanwhile, on the driver front, Piastri does have a development point to spend after the test needed in Australia. Looking at his stats, probably going to aim to get the weaker stats up to a respectable amount before we work on the middle values. We have another season's worth of training, so plenty of time to turn Piastri into an absolute monster. Personally, just my opinion, I see adaptability as the least important stat due to there's only a few rain races in a year. Then smoothness, as for the next 2 seasons, is a reserve, so we don't need to work on any strategy at all. We'll up that some more close to the end of next season, but as stated, we'll try and get the smoothness and adaptability to around 65 first each before focusing on getting the rest of the racecraft skills to 75. So once both smoothness and adaptability goes to 65, we shall leave those for now. It just gives us a lot more time to work on getting the middle and top end of his stats a little bit more rounded. Also with a development point is Pierre. We'll show a strive to get his defending, smoothness and adaptability up to 80, as he is an active driver. Adaptability is a little bit more important for him here, especially being an AlphaTauri in this season. If we get a chance to score big at a rain race, we need to take it. And today as well, with qualifying potentially being in the rain, could be the difference between us getting into Q2 or Q3. With research just around the corner, we kind of need a few extra slots to fit in the research along with the manufacturing. It is very pricey, extremely pricey, but for us in the long run, I have no doubts it'll be worth it. Worth the investment. One of our first major parts, the front wing, is ready. It has been developed. It's now just up to us to manufacture it. We need to manufacture enough for both drivers to have one plus a spare. With the new regulations passed, we now have research unlocked, manufacturing new parts and starting the first of many research projects this season. We are aiming to research everything at least once. Then those areas that are currently weakest this season, we will research a little bit more, so that next season we have a little bit more of a leg up on the competition. You research in a very similar way to developing the parts. You choose the parameters, you choose how many engineers, if you want any wind tunnel testing, all that malarkey. Move a few sliders here and there, and yeah, it is literally as simple as that. Little bits of research throughout the season can give you a massive advantage next. We have finally reached race weekend. We're going to be a little bit more cautious with our sponsor predictions this round, but with seeing how good the new front wings are, we are hopeful for at least one top 10 finish today. And please, for the love of God, Seb, just don't spin.
The hills of Tuscany
Don't spin.
are green to the south, but here in Imola the air is red hot. Welcome to Ferrari's turf for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. The track has been around since the 60s, but the first official Formula One race was held here in 1980. Let's see what excitement lies ahead this year.
We are going to jump straight into qualifying this time round. These are the setups I got from the practice. Just a reminder, as always, that these are a guide and not guaranteed to get you an optimal. There was already signs of light terrain in qualifying 1, but Q1 went without too much of a hitch. Easy advances, as is expected of AlphaTauri. Q2, with it being a little drier, caused a little bit more of a challenge, with Seb a casualty of quicker times, meaning just Gasly into Q3, Sebastian Vettel is eliminated. Q3 now, something a little bit interesting here. Start is dry, but then you get to the rainfall quick if we look at the weather. So our plan was pretty much just get a quick first lap in before the rain starts. And according to the weather reports, rain is staying on the track until the end. As soon as we finished our first lap, it started downpouring. We stayed in for the final flurry and, would you believe it, a shock second place. It is race day and a one-stopper is in the works. We're starting Gasly on mediums and Seb a little bit further back on the field in hards, ready to take advantage of a safety car, knowing that mediums will be competitive for up to 26 laps. If we pit 2 or 3 earlier for the hards, it shouldn't affect the strategy too much. DRS is king here despite only the one zone. It's a long one, so pushing for the rest of the track. We will need that DRS zone as much as we can.
Drivers have now taken position on the grid, and it's looking like a cloudy day. And there we have Pierre Gasly. After an impressive qualifying performance, they're starting today just behind pole. And for the second driver, it's Sebastian Vettel. They'll be starting the race from the bottom half of the grid, so there's a fair bit of ground to make up. Will their hard work pay off today? The crowd are on their feet in anticipation of this, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go.
Straight away, an absolutely horrific block by Perez, immediately putting Gasly, who I reckon was going to just absolutely blast straight past him into the first corner, puts him at a major disadvantage already with Carlos Sainz and Ocon behind. It's it's going to look a bit heavy for Gasly. Vettel meanwhile slotting in to that 11th place and looks like he's found where he's going to be for the majority of the race.
DRS enabled. Come on, let's go get those points.
DRS enabled on lap 3. Gasly so far 4th and Sebastian Vettel in 11th. So far so good for Gasly though, recovering quick after that early block. The only way here, surely for Vettel, is up.
Charge on, charge on.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Now look at this. It was the AlphaTauri driver involved. And there they go, moving up a position. Just incredible.
Absolutely great move from Gasly just there. Great move on Alonso. Looking to catch straight up to Russell this following lap. I have a feeling Gasly is about to be on an absolute roll, nearly within a second already, so could be getting DRS as soon as the next lap. Hopefully managing to get enough of a gap between him and Alonso behind that Alonso can't use the same tactics to try and scrape back some distance on us.
That was a very good lap.
Told you he was on a
okay.
roll. Russell dispatched and the fastest lap.
Okay,
Meanwhile,
charge on.
Vettel is 11th at the back of a big DRS train. For now, it's useless pushing. We just have to sit there, wait, and just hope that the pit stops go our way. It seems Gasly has had his free Weetabix today. He's already caught up to leader Perez. Unfortunately, we do have a bit of a problem with the battery just there, running out of charge, so it's going to be the case where we may just have to sit back for 1 or 2 laps, hope that Russell doesn't get too close, and as long as Gasly has the pace to keep up with Perez, we're getting a nice pull until the first round of pit stops, which will suit us absolutely nicely. We wait, we calculate, we decide lap 15 is the time.
Okay, we need some deploy.
With the Ferraris very close behind now, Sainz and Leclerc just catching with every passing lap. If we can get in front of Perez now, maybe defend for a couple of laps, it could give Gasly a good chance of getting nice and high in the points when the pit stops come and go. Hey, maybe we could even pray for a podium, who knows.
Good job.
Great pass
Now
over
look
from
at this.
Gasly.
It was the AlphaTauri driver involved. A bold move indeed, and with that, they've gained a position. The team watching on,
Look how happy they are.
really loving
I'm
that.
happy. The following lap was going to be the biggest test of them all though. With Perez and Sainz right up Gasly, he's managing to defend from both. Absolutely amazing work from him. The only problem is, it's now, I feel it's just going to be a case of when.
Oh, and Ferrari just gained a place.
And unfortunately, it is as soon as
Let's
lap
take a closer
21.
look. Let's have
And
another look.
Gasly getting
Sainz
absolutely
is the
shafted
focus.
here. Sainz going past, it slows down Gasly to the point where Charles can also get a nice run on Gasly just there
Gaining
as
a
well.
position there.
Both Ferraris
Oh,
in
they make
first
it look
and
so
second.
easy.
Good news, however, Seb, as
Charge on,
Hamilton
charge on.
jumps into the
Yeah.
pits, moving him up into a point scoring position. Unfortunately though, the Ferraris are just a little bit too quick, so we are going on to plan B with Gasly, which is just try and keep Perez out of Gasly's DRS, because the less of a speed boost Perez gets, the better chance as that once he has his pits as well, he will be right behind Gasly rather than in front. As luck would have it though, when we enter the pits we realise that everybody is pitting. This is an absolute disaster for Gasly, with the pit boxes getting overly crowded, overly empty. Gasly will end up losing quite a few positions, unfortunately. Just absolute disaster. Locked in his pit stall, comes out 5 seconds behind Perez. However, Vettel staying out, fighting for third with Ocon and Bottas. So reach lap 29, we currently have Sebastian Vettel in third place, Pierre Gasly in 9th, after the rest of the top runners jump in for their pits. Got to think what is going to be the best course of action for Vettel right now, with the Ferraris getting closer and closer. Come lap 38 and the Ferraris have caught us up. They're slowly starting to get through our 3-man pack. This is going to be Seb's optimal time to pit in, but I'm just thinking with the Ferraris in front, we have an opportunity here to try and keep up with the Ferraris, and instead of undercutting, maybe overcutting Bottas and Ocon, We're going to try and stay out as long as we possibly can,
Oh,
as
and
long as we have
Ferrari
DRS,
just gained a place.
so that if Bottas and Ocon pit early, Vettel can just keep up with the Ferraris. Fingers crossed Ocon and Bottas won't have any DRS, and by the time it's time for Vettel to finally pit, with the little speed boost he's been getting from the front runners, you can see Bottas and Ocon behind him. But of course, this is my series of videos. Nothing ever goes right. Go to the final corner before the home stretch of Imola. Bottas trying to fight through these Ferraris as much as possible, but both are just absolutely ravenous.
You are the fastest.
Tearing Bottas apart. We managed to get a quicker slap in. Try and do the same thing, but we slow down just before the first corner, meaning that Bottas slightly blocks us off here. Get through, but we do see a back marker in front, which hopefully the back marker can let us through as well. Let's both the Ferraris. Then by the last moment just blocks off Bottas. Both Bottas and us just having a horrible time getting past the Haas. And that pretty much ruins all three of our slipstream to Ferrari. But we're going to have to go on to plan B and perhaps pit a little sooner rather than later.
And box.
We're fortunate enough with Bottas and Ocon not pitting at the same time as us. In fact, they have no DRS at the moment. They're kind of stuck without any boost at all. Alonso coming out close to Hamilton and Gasly chasing down Russell. We still have a chance to get a really strong finish and get maybe even both drivers into the top 10. The leaders moments away from starting lap 45. We have somehow managed to catch up to Russell.
Okay,
Gasly doing an absolutely amazing job there. Does need to harvest the engine for a little bit. Needs to watch those fuel levels as well. But as long as we're behind Russell, I'm also behind Ocon as well. And this time the Haas lets us go through without too many problems. My heart truly skipped a beat there. So Gasly's still in 8th at the moment, but we can chill out behind Russell and hopefully we can just save our batteries now and attempt one final push towards the end. We have 15 laps remaining. We are watching Vettel at the moment battling with Alonso for that 10th place spot. Bottas and Ocon finally pit. This is a moment of truth. Can both AlphaTauri get past? And they do. Fantastic. I have really bad feelings that Bottas and Ocon could be on softer tyres, but it's all in Vettel's hands now. Currently fighting for that 8th place. Gasly up into 6th. Things are finally starting to look up with 14 laps left. The first part of our plan is sorted.
For AlphaTauri. Here's the replay. Now look at this. It was the AlphaTauri driver involved.
Great overtake from Sebastian Vettel on Fernando Alonso. That's the first part of the plan. What's the second part of the plan? We need to get the hell away from Alonso.
There they go.
We cannot be having Alonso within our DRS for the last few laps. It's just going to be absolutely excruciating to watch.
Yeah, copy.
And we could have 2 for 2 within the same amount of laps. So now it's Gasly's turn to try and get past Russell. Hopefully he can get past with no problems. It also looks to have no problems.
Charge on.
Shutting the door straight away. Just quickly get a little bit of charge into that first corner. Once that is done, it is pretty much going to be the same thing as we did with Fernando Alonso. We need to escape as quick as we can away from these two drivers. It's going to be tough. It's going to probably take until the very last lap to do so, but AlphaTauri have a fight on their hands. Potentially going to finish in a 5th and an 8th. Come on!
Run wide.
Keep an eye on the fuel, please.
With just a couple of laps left.
Keep up the lift off. You're doing a very good
That's
job.
not the message we want to be seeing.
Okay.
I'm getting flashbacks. This happened on Twitch. With the McLaren. It was Gasly as well. It was also Imola. Even though we had it on conserve, we didn't last until the end. Oh no, not again. We approach the final lap. We have Gasly in 5th place. Russell right behind. We have Vettel in 8th with Bottas on softs, chasing him as hard as he possibly can. Can we survive it? Can we get through? Luckily some of the back markers letting us through, unlike earlier in the race. It's going to be a close one. They're catching. They're getting closer and closer. Oh, can't watch. Can't watch.
Sainz crosses the line first. He's taken the win. We can take a look now. There we go. It's a win for Sainz.
And that's what happens when you drive with such skill and passion. They barely put a foot wrong.
Gasly comes out of that last corner, gets the 5th, holds on. Great points haul for Gasly there. Just getting a quick watch on to Vettel. No spins. No spins. No spins. That's better. Why couldn't you do that last race? Jesus, Seb.
And check reflect, check reflect.
But a great result for AlphaTauri. I am absolutely over the moon with that.
Stop F5 bridge, stop F5 bridge. We need more liftoff. Yeah.
Well, this weekend, Pierre Gasly flew us to the stars. This was well deserved for AlphaTauri. A solid weekend of racing.
They do say success breeds success, and I'm sure the team will be hoping that holds true.
And they're in 6th place in the constructor standings at the end of this weekend.
Coming up next, the teams will be taking a trip to the Sunshine State. The Hard Rock Stadium is laying down the track for a captivating race at the Miami Grand Prix.
Nerve-wracking at the end, but even with 0 fuel left, Gasly still managed to finish the race, get his 5th, and Vettel outpacing Bottas towards the end to win his first points of the season. Points will move AlphaTauri up into 6th place in the constructors, exactly where the board wants to see us, as well as decent growth for all drivers and quite a few monies from the sponsorships. Overall, an extremely successful weekend. That was a close one. As soon as we got the alert saying that Gasly was running low on fuel, I just got flashbacks of Twitch where on our McLaren save we did the exact same thing at Imola. I think it was with Gasly as well, and we didn't quite make it to the line that time, but this time we did. Got plenty of points. We've gone up to, most importantly, 6th place in the constructors, so the board loves it. I love it. Seb got some points as well. Everybody wins, technically. Next up though is Miami International Autodrome, which I think suits some more higher speed cars, which I feel we sort of fall into that category, so make sure you check out next time's episode, see how we do. If you liked what you've seen today, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, check out the rest of the links underneath the video, especially for Twitch, Discord, Twitter, all that sort of good stuff. But hey, let me know underneath how you're getting on with your seasons so far. I know a few of you have a couple of seasons in. What's been your craziest driver changes? How are you doing as a team? Are you getting many wins, and have you managed to overthrow Ferrari and Red Bull? Let me know underneath. But until then, take care of yourselves. More importantly, make sure you take care of each other. Take care.